Hi guys, welcome back to Origami Twist. Okay, long story short, I have been gone for a while. I'm so sorry about that. I had a surprise event happen where I was actually able to go home to visit my family in the States and attend a friend's wedding that I had hoped to attend, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to, yada yada. Long story short, I have been away from this channel for far too long. And I figured I'd come back with a bang since I have just recently moved my craft room. Now it's still in transition a little bit because we're going to be doing some actual structural work to this room in our house and another location in our house. So in the meantime, it's sort of, I'm only taking up about half of the space that I will be when I'm finished, but I figured I'd show it to you and let you be able to see all the craft stuff I have, because I want to expand this channel a little bit and do more paper crafting stuff that isn't just paper folding. I will continue to do paper folding. It is called Origami Twist for a reason, but I want to get into the twist side of things. So with all of that said, here is my craft room. Okay, this is where the magic happens. This is my desk area, as it's sort of an industrial style desk, and then I have a bookcase over there with two sets of drawers underneath it. I'm going to bring you around in sort of a clockwise or counterclockwise, haven't decided yet, version, so you can see what's inside everything and see what I've got. This is the top shelf of the bookcase. On top I've got some scrapbooking stuff that I'm working on right now. I try to cut down on clutter. The only reason that's there is just because I'm still getting used to the space, finding things for everything. So that will probably go away at some stage, but we'll see how we go. Over on the left-hand side, that's where I keep my scraps. And I'll insert a picture here of one of those envelopes. Anything that is less than an 8.5 by 11 size goes into there, and then I pull from there first, obviously for cards and that sort of thing. And any paper folding stuff I'm doing, I do that first. Here I've got some colored cardstock that came in a big multicolor section. Right here, these are die cut things, and they have really great die cuts and stuff in them, and I've sorted them by color so that they're easy to use. The next section is paper pads. You can tell I don't have a huge collection of any of this stuff. It's just, you know, 5 or 6 different ones that I really love. There are a few that are just plain paper because I do a lot of crafting with just plain colored paper and I decorate it. There will be videos of that sort of thing coming up soon. But that's what that is paper pads. This next section is individual sheets of patterned paper. So anything that's not a paper pad that I've either purchased somewhere, or perhaps I've got to the point with a paper pad where I've broken it up into sections, keep it right next to it. I try not to keep a huge collection of paper at any one time because I love to go shopping. So when I need some inspiration, I like to go and see what's fresh and clean and new, buy a couple of sheets, use that, and go from there. But this is some of my favorite stuff. To the right, I've got 8.5 by 11 and 12 by 12 cardstock as well that didn't come in these pre-sets. So some of this was paper pads, some of it's individual sheets that you buy from the scrapbooking store, stuff like that. And then I've also got 12 by 12 craft cardstock. I use a lot of that. I really like the look of it, so that's in there as well. Okay, the bottom shelf, so this is 2 shelves to this little bookcase, and the bottom shelf contains all sorts of things. I don't really like the look of it because I think it's too messy, but for right now, until I'm able to access the other half of this room after the structural changes are done, I do have to keep it like this. So I'll show you again once it's less cluttered, but as it is right now, it works for what it needs to work for. Okay, so on the left-hand side there are 12 by 12 size template section where I tuck anything that's too big to fit in one of the boxes. On top of these boxes here is where I store really large size paper, as well as craft mat that I use when I'm filming and crafting, that sort of thing. This top drawer is ink pads, as is that drawer and that drawer. And that drawer is Distress Inks, love that, the Holtz Distress Inks. And that drawer to the right is also stamp pads, but it's just there aren't very many in them. There's basically room to grow there. I'm happy with my collection right now, but there are a few things I'm going to be adding to it soon, hopefully. So I wanted to leave space for that so that I'm not overwhelmed with stuff once I acquire the things that are on the to-do list. Top drawer, or the top cabinet here is stickers, which I use for all sorts of things. The next one down is origami paper. That's one of my favorite sections, and I just picked up some new paper while I was in the States, so that'll be fun. Ribbons in the bottom box. Arts and crafts supplies that don't really have their own individual topic, but I still use for a lot of things, so that goes in there. The next one is embellishments for scrapbooking, and the next one down is templates. So underneath the bookcase are two sets of drawers. They're made out of metal, and they're kind of remind me a little bit of tiny little filing cabinets. This is my, I don't like to say junk drawer because it's my most opened drawer. I use it for all my videos, all kinds of stuff. And I was thinking about doing a little tour of this, or maybe like a cleanup video, something like that. So let me know if you'd like to see that. It is full of basically things that I use in my videos. Your basic go-to craft type things that I use for anything that I'm making. There is a use for this flip-flop, which you may have seen before. If you haven't yet seen it, you will be seeing this flip-flop a lot in the future. It has never been used on someone's foot, just so you know. I use it for craft purposes only. There's Sharpies, markers, adhesives, corner rounders, all kinds of stuff in here. But like I said, I will make a separate video for this one because it is a very key for my craft room. This one I don't use quite as much, but it is very helpful, and I love the colors and things in it. I've got Crayola brand stuff in the front, as well as Mr. Sketch markers, which I love both for coloring and drawing, as well as watercolor. They're fantastic. And more markers back here, pens and pencils, highlighter, and then colored pencils, inexpensive colored pencils on the left, and these cool little connector pens from Faber-Castell. So this is one of the color drawers. Okay, well, this drawer initially looks like a big old mess. It's actually organized chaos. Some of this stuff I actually brought from the States when I flew back a couple of weeks ago. So it's mostly adhesives. You can notice there's bottles down there, there's rolls of tape, Xyron sticker machine, things like that. Here's the top drawer on the right-hand side underneath the bookcase. And this drawer's got some really interesting papers, like waxed paper and butcher paper. I've also got some, just some extra bits and pieces that didn't go elsewhere. This is a room to grow drawer. It obviously is not devoted to anything particular. You never know what will go in it in the future. Okay, this drawer is the second drawer down on the right-hand side underneath the bookcase, and it is easily one of my favorite drawers in the entire setup. The embossing powder. This is the embossing powder drawer. When I was in the States, I picked up all of the Recollections colors at my parents' local Michael store. I also have several from Stampin' Up as well. This is Wild Wasabi. And embossing buddy for some mark pads, that sort of thing. And in the back are all of my paper flowers. You can see some, I think there's Kaiser ones on top, but then there are other paper flowers that are pre-cut in the back. So lots of color in this drawer and lots of creative fun stuff. I am planning on doing some embossing videos coming up soon. It's one of my favorite things to do with paper is embossing and stamping. Okay, the bottom drawer on the right-hand side under the bookcase has some more arts and crafts type things in the back there. Craft mat, some straws, little containers, that sort of thing. And then Underneath we've got, on the left hand side is the glitter and Pearl-Ex container, and on the right hand side is Heidi Swap color shines as well as inks that are not Stampin' Up. And then I've got some Martha Stewart trays for glitter and embossing. On top of that I have some Prismacolor watercolor pencils that I picked up while I was in the States, as well as some other brands. Another video I plan on, or several videos I plan on doing soon, involve watercolor and paper. So here is my desk from the corner. I don't have a lot of space in here to sort of go around, but you get the idea. And there's my chair with a basket on it. So there we go. All right, we'll start up here. Well, that's the rest of the room. It's pretty much empty right now, but once we do, like I said, do the structural changes, that will be getting some storage type stuff on it, possibly. We'll see how we go. So this stack here is all of my clear mount and current, well, I shouldn't say current, but all of my clear mount and a couple of Stampin' Up wood mount stamps. I keep them in DVD cases that I buy at the office supply store, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'm happy to make a video about those if you like. And then that notebook there on the counter is on the desk, is my catalog. Essentially everything I've got, all the colors and everything, I pop in the catalog so that I can bring the catalog with me to other rooms or into my to look at my computer and that sort of thing, to make design decisions, that sort of thing. And I know what I've got that way. It's also good for shopping. All right, so now I will show you what is inside these drawers. This is my second most used drawer. You'll notice that I've got things like a Fiskars paper crimper, different things that change paper. In general, there's another thing in the back that puts texture on paper, stuff like that. I've got all of my tea bag folding tiles all cut up and ready to go, all of which I've designed. They are for sale in digital format on my website. Link will be below, of course, so you can go and have a look at those if you're interested in tea bag folding tiles. I've got a towel that I keep in here just to wipe up any messes, that sort of thing, clean up the area. And a few punches and things, as you can see, a Stamp-O-Majig and a Stampin' Scrub. And if many of you have watched my videos all the way back from the beginning, I do a lot of videos where I use paper clips and little tiny clothespins to hold things in place while they dry. I've got major size containers of both of those for that very reason. And then acrylic blocks for stamping in the back. You may have sensed a theme when I go to talk about all these craft supplies. I say, this is one of my favorite drawers. Well, this one here is almost top of the line, one of my favorites, and another topic of future videos as well. I love my die cutting machine, and it also does embossing as well. Many of you have them. There's the Project Life kits. I've got lots of Sizzix Bigs dies, and I say lots. I've got a selection of Sizzix Bigs dies. I have smaller steel cut dies in that container in the back, and I've got some Poppy Stamps dies and some Memory Box, Cottage Cuts, a bit of all different kinds of steel cut ones in here. Some longer strip dies and some heaps of different embossing folders. So as I said, I plan to do quite a few videos with this material as well. This drawer isn't much to look at first, however, it's got some really neat stuff in it. A piece of styrofoam, but that's not the interesting thing. I've got a box of sand, which I use to stick things into while they're drying and that sort of thing. It just acts as a weight to weigh whatever it is down. This box here is my quilling supplies. I do a little bit of quilling, not a huge amount. It's interesting anyway, I enjoy it. And then I have one of the classic Stampin' pads from Stampin' Up! That has not all 12, it has all of the colors in the color family. And I am slowly collecting all 4 of those. I have all the pads as well as the refills. And something I was thinking about with this is actually doing a review of all the different colors, or at least a showing all the different colors in a video. We'll see how we go with that, so that you know whether you want to buy one or not. As you can see, this is the second set of drawers in, and the top drawer is all of my punches. I've got a couple from Stampin' Up, one from a Martha Stewart. I have some of the old Stampin' Up! Ones, as well as several from Fiskars. I love Fiskars ones, especially these squeezy handle ones. They're just really, really nice. And some hand punches in the back, that sort of thing. Love my punches. This is another thing that I would love to do some videos on. Okay, the second drawer down probably doesn't need its own drawer, to be honest. This is one that's going to need some work, I think, as time goes by with the new room. But essentially, this is a few embellishment type things in the back, and then it's fishing lure boxes filled with breads. So I have them in every color of the rainbow, as well as white and black, and then I've got different sizes and that sort of thing. They can also be colored with Sharpie markers. So, and then I found these in Michael's, was it last year, I think, when I was visiting my family in the States. There's little snowflakes, and we got married in New England in the States a few years ago, and of course it was in October, so the colors were all beautiful with the maple leaves, and I got a few maple leaf ones to put in our wedding scrap album. Little earths, some seaside stuff. We got engaged at the beach in New England, so you know, all sorts of things. And again, I don't have a huge amount, but I like to keep handy the ones that I know I'm going to use. So that's the theme for my craft room, really, is what I'm going to use. Okay, last drawer of these 2 cabinets. In the back, I've got some plastic ribbon down the bottom there, as well as some paper basket fill. I use that for quilling, but also for paper baskets. And then in the front, I've got inexpensive acrylic paints. Down the bottom here, I've got some crepe paper. As well as tissue paper to use for paper crafts. So with the crepe paper and tissue paper, I've already got 1 tissue paper flower up on my channel. I'd like to put more up as well, so that's definitely something that's a possibility in the future. Now down to the right there is a box full of 12-inch by 6-inch paper a friend of mine gave me. Now you guys know that my channel is all about paper, so of course there's going to be more paper in my craft space, right? On the left here is some fancy paper that my husband gave me for Christmas last year. And then I have some different kinds of photo paper, as well as 6x6 papers. And let's see, some random 8.5 by 11 stuff. And of course my scoreboard from Stampin' Up. So after the paper, we've got this other section here that houses, again, some of my favorite things. On the upper left-hand corner, you've got some, let's see, baby wipes are not my favorite things, but they're great for cleaning stuff up. Underneath that, you've got a Sizzix alphabet, as well as an envelope punch board from Stampin' Up. So a paper trimmer, 2 different paper trimmers actually, and that is my #1 most used craft item. Except for paper, of course, but you can get paper out of the flyers and things, that you can get recycled paper, but a paper trimmer is one of those craft things that is just saves you so much time. So highly recommend getting them. You've got all the different bits and pieces that go with the Sizzix Big Shot, including the pads that run through the machine to make it work, and also variegated sizes or different sizes of shapes, for example, circles and that sort of thing. And a long skinny one. There are several different options. And then of course the Sizzix Big Shot right next to it, which I'll be talking about quite a bit in future videos. Down the bottom we've got another drawer full of paper. I'll show you that here, as well as a drawer full of Sharpie markers, as well as other alcohol markers, including Copics. I don't have very many Copics, but you know, there are a few. And Stampin' Up! Markers in this one. Small selection of Project Life materials, including the Cinnamon edition and the Heritage edition for the core kits for Project Life. Last but not least, you can see this large tower of plastic drawers. A lot of people use these for cosmetics. I use them for craft supplies. And I'm going to give you a quick look into that, and then we'll wrap things up. Okay, top section. The top box there is totally empty. The next drawer has a whole bunch of eyeshadow pigments made out of just crushed up cheap eyeshadows. I've got a video on that if you're interested. And same kind of thing, more cosmetics to break up for pigments. Brushes. Heat gun. Oops. Heat gun, sponges, palette, more brushes. Bling, another one of my favorite drawers. Love coloring these with Sharpies. I've got a video on that if you're interested. Pearls, different bits and pieces, diamantes, all kinds of stuff. Old Stampin' Up! Stamps. More Stampin' Up! Stamps. Some stamps from when I was a child, some current stamps, and then some old Stampin' Up! Stamps. Part of my Christmas present last year from my husband was a bunch of paper, including paper and cardstock for my videos. So more Stampin' Up! Stamps. This is one of my favorites. This one's from Australia because I live here. It's Santa with board shorts and a surfboard, and he's actually tied on using little Christmas lights. This is a Stampin' Up! Australia exclusive. And there are a few of those different sets that come out occasionally for us, which is really exciting. So a lot of the stamps going all the way to the bottom are Stampin' Up! Ones that I had from years ago when I sold it in America. And I just they were in my parents' attic, and I just brought them back with me from this trip. So that's it, my craft room. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave them below. If you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like to see on this channel, always let me know. I love requests, and I love doing things based on what you're interested in. If you have any questions about the craft room, please leave those below as well. I can do anything in more detail, talk about different things, whatever you like. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.